Howdy, welcome back. This is the Daily Dose of Dopamine. I'm Susan, that's Robert, and we have a special guest. This is Christine.
I,
Comes to us from the University of Maryland.
Christina,
And yeah,
yeah,
Christian.
exactly. Program coordinator with the University of Maryland, and Susan and I have both been, very thankful to have spoken at your event. What do you look to bring to the community? You mentioned, overall, getting their lives together, but when you're bringing someone from the outside in, what do you look for, and how do you measure whether or not it landed well with your community?
That's a great question. I definitely look for, hope, positive messages to the community. We look for new, novel strategies, because it's important to, mix things up and to show people that, hey, there are different resources out here. There are different options, and we look for things like that. We also, give our people living with Parkinson's, like we give them the opportunity to express what they're looking for in our conferences each year. So we actually give them evaluation surveys and we ask them, tell us what you want to see. What do you want to learn about? What do you think will be beneficial to you? And I also look for someone that's going to come in to create an atmosphere of networking and just open communication and to foster that supportive network, So those are the things that we look for.
That's
I bet
fantastic.
improv didn't come up easily and quickly in very many people's surveys before Robert showed up on the scene. It's probably going to show up again.
It will, and I will say that, we had our first, experience with Robert coming in, 2021 and doing a workshop, for improv. And that was the first time it was introduced and everybody really enjoyed it. And we got a lot of positive feedback. So we were just thrilled when he was able to come back this year to be the keynote speaker and to, spread his program and his strategies to the whole audience. And it was amazing. I mean, like 90%, 95% of the attendees just expressed how much fun they had, how positive it was. And they just really had a lot of, great, comments and was just so happy that they were able to participate. And you can see it, in the video from the
Yeah.
recording.
He
Yeah.
he got them up on their feet. I mean, this is a population and a lot of people who maybe they could give themselves permission to stay in the chair. And Robert's enthusiasm and joy has a way of getting them up on their feet and joining in whatever way they can or dancing in their chair.
Yes, and what makes it even special is that Robert has a personal connection. That's another thing that we look for when we bring outside speakers in is we want someone that has a personal connection to the disease, because it's hard when someone can't relate to what someone else is going through, and that's very key as well.
Well, what I wanted to say too, and thank you for all those kind words, is thank you for what you're building because my understanding is you don't have a personal connection to Parkinson's, right?
That's correct.
So even though you don't, you brought in and not only created, you seem to embody an improv spirit without maybe knowing it as such, because you're willing to listen, and I think the emphasis on something new does meet the Parkinson's community where they are at because, as you mentioned, this is a wise community. They're always, in my experience too, looking for the next thing, and they're so open to what else can I add? How can I yes and my health? I've got my boxing, I've got my dance, I've got my good doctor. What else can I add to this that can, bridge whatever gaps are there?
Especially if they identify that some of those gaps are things like, you know what, I haven't gone out for weeks.
Right.
I'm isolating myself. What's up with
Isolation is
that?
sneaky.
And maybe they don't see their own early levels of depression. If they do they have the courage to ask, for help? And they're not necessarily going to think of improv, but when it lands in their lap by virtue of groups like you exposing them to opportunities like this, they're like, we want more.
Right. It opens a whole new world of possibilities of new resources for their toolbox to help them cope daily.
Yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
is. Well, Christina, thank you so much for opening the door to both of us and allowing us to experience your community and bring what we have. And we want to keep those lines going, whatever we can do to support you. Thank you for the great work you do.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We'll see you on the next Daily Dose.